Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show how to use ambient occlusion to add um, a little bit more depth to objects when you're working with flat emission. So with no lighting, this is how it was. And by adding in some ambient occlusion, you get it a little bit more rich. The geometry gets a bit richer and a bit nicer in some ways. Could be useful. So I'm going to show how to achieve this. Okay, so let's delete our cube, do Shift A and create some text. Let's press RX90 to rotate it and go to here and center it like this. Let's go into edit mode, delete everything, and let's get an H like that. Let's change our font to something a bit chunkier, like this one. And let's zoom in. Let's make our view a little bit more orthographic. And we need to go to geometry and extrude it somewhat. Okay, let's go into rendered view. Let's delete our light. And we can work, and let's turn the world black. And let's hide our guides. And now let's work on let's put the guides back for a second. Let's work on our shader. So we don't need this. We need an emission shader. Let's give it the favorite blue color. Now we need a mix shader. And not that one. Let's get a transparent. So when we plug the transparent into the mix, nothing happens because we need to go over here and set our blend mode to alpha blend. And now we get some transparency, which we can tweak over here. Okay, let's hide our guides for now. We need to get another mix shader. And I'm going to plug that one in here. And we need another one of these. Plug that in here. We need a ambient occlusion node, which we're going to plug into here. So nothing is happening because we need to go over to our render settings and turn ambient occlusion on. I want to turn that on. Actually, almost nothing happens because we need to attack these values with a color ramp. Okay, actually, one thing I should have mentioned was over in the render settings, we need to have show backface on and backface culling turned off. And also in our text settings, we want to turn fill mode to none. So we don't have the front or the back filled in. So that gives a little bit more of that see-through look because we are seeing through. Okay, so we now need to pull up this bad boy, and you can see that we start to get the ambient occlusion working on the places which would actually be a little bit shadowed if this was a scene with real light bouncing around. Okay, So now we can compare. If you have the Node Wrangler add-on turned on, you can then press Control Shift and then just click on this mix shader here to swap the outputs so that this one then goes to the material outputs. And you can see if I switch back and forward, you can see the effect we're getting is quite nice. It's that this is extremely flat, and this is like sort of graphics, graphic design kind of flatness. And on here, you see we have a really different kind of look, which can be tweaked. So you can go from something very, very subtle to this. So if I switch back and forward, you can see even actually a subtle amount does make quite a difference to the look. And if I go into edit mode and add a few more letters, we can see the effect it's actually pretty nice. Again, if I switch back, this is very flat, and this has got something nice to it. You can experiment with turning on the front and back faces, but that kind of ruins the effect. The problem without it is that without it turned on, you see all the way through, which could be useful, maybe not so. I think the way to deal with this would actually be to fill these in with a separate object and apply a much more transparent version of the same shader, so you don't see all the way through, but you don't get this kind of effect here where it's kind of, yeah, it kind of ruins it in a way, ruins the effect. So I haven't really played around with that, but that could be something to do. Let's just for fun change our or add in some more fancy coloring. Let's plug this one in here, and we need to get a texture coordinate in here and plug the generated in. And one more thing is to separate XYZ. And now we get a kind of a nice rainbow effect. And again, if I switch back to, if I remove this ambient occlusion effect, we have something much flatter, also nice, but just different. And you can also go really far with this. You can swap them around. So now, before we had the white on the right and the black on the left, if you swap them around, you actually reverse the effect. So the ambient occlusion hides it hides the brighter parts. How can I explain this? With it set up like this, when you swap these faders around, it will make the parts of the insides where it should be lighter, it will make them darker, and it makes the corners, which would be occluded, brighter. So you're actually swapping the effect around by doing this. And so you can actually get some pretty wild effects. And also you can change this, hide inside. And again, you can do some other wild stuff. I can't remember what I did with this. Oh yeah, right. You have to play around with it. I'm not sure what this actually, what difference this makes. But there's a lot of things to be done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video now. I'm going to mess around to get some more kind of wild effects, and then I will be back in a moment. Okay, so what I've got now is just the letter O, and I'm messing around with, in the font section, I'm messing around with the bevel, and you can start to get some kind of really strange and cool effects. Like this. Bump up the strength. The extrude is pretty nice. And also messing around with the fill mode changes it quite a lot. We can also go this way and start to get some kind of strange, it's kind of sensitive. Was it down here? I can't remember now. What was it? It was, I think I need to have this turned down a bit. I can't remember. What was it? It was this. Oh yeah. I guess. I'm not sure. You can see there's some pretty interesting stuff you can do with it. And that's kind of nice. And it was almost, I was messing around with it yesterday, and some of the effects I was getting, it was almost like lens flares, or yeah, kind of light passing through a lens. It's really strange and quite nice. Hours of fun for all the family, as they say. And this is just with the letter O. And it's just for fun. Go into edit mode and add another letter. And you can see I think it might have crashed on me now. Let's have a look if I can save this. Yeah, this is actually similar to something I was getting yesterday. I don't know why, but I can't rotate it anymore. I think it might have crashed on me. Let's just... The bloom is way too much. That's the problem, partly. Well, I don't know. I can no longer rotate my view. Something's going on. But you can see there's some pretty strange stuff that can be done. Yeah, this is actually quite similar to what I was having. It looks like a shark. What the fuck? That's weird. I'm also now I'm not on my normal computer. Now I'm on another computer. And this is just kind of, it's crapping out on me. Anyway, that's it. Have fun with it. Hope this was useful, and take it easy.